YouTube has informed me I can't monetize this video unless I censor myself. Alright, I'm ready. So you know, back in my actual serious review of Boku no Pico, I said I was looking for a porn with good writing, to see if it actually picks up any reception, or if the fact it's porn stops it from receiving any acclaim at all. As it turns out, the answer might just be the latter. You see, me and my friends had this group Dropbox for just like random cool shit, and one day I stumbled across this comic. I thought, why the hell would this shittily drawn comic be saved in here, and closed it out, only to find it again later after I made that video. This time I was perplexed enough by this that, why am I bothering to use fancy words in a video about porn? Yo, that shit was weird. Why the hell would anyone like this enough to save it in a Dropbox? So, I properly read through it, and you know what? While I read through this comic, I felt something, and I also felt something. Don't believe me? This comic can be found at the top of a lot of subreddits and apparently gets posted constantly. The most logical reason for its high rating is that it executes its story well. I mean, it can't be the porn. Porn is all about the visuals, and this has shit all. It's all black and white, and thin, sketchy lines, and a couple of panels are just straight up bad. Oh, but maybe like the fucking positions and interactions are all sexy. Maybe it's just about how hot it is, but oh man, don't make me analyze the actual porn, please. Look, I saw a couple of the other top ones, and I don't really see, or more importantly, feel much of a difference. I've never actually tried analyzing porn as porn, so I'm probably horribly inexperienced, but just go fucking look at it. I don't really feel any more hot and bothered. This is embarrassing, Jesus. So what makes this comic different? Well, the most obvious thing is the writing is so goddamn clever. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Clever writing. I mean, the premise is nothing special. Boy coincidentally goes to his hometown on a school field trip. He makes friends with two cheerleaders, and later in the day they follow him to a lake hideaway thing, and sexual tension tighter than the elastics on my pants ensues. They bring alcohol or whatever, and they do party games, but I'm honestly amazed at how many cool and clever ideas the writer brings out from this. They play a game where whoever wins rock, paper, scissors gets to make one command, but the two girls use the water as cover to sign rock, paper, scissors to each other so they can move the conversation in the direction they want. And then there's a point where the guy sits in between them and puts his hands casually on their lower backs, and they both mistake it for being signed paper. And then there's a bunch of clever lines that are especially clever because they integrate into the porn. Like, there's an earlier line where he describes one of the girls as shallow, and then when he goes to put the dick in and it doesn't fit, she says, "Oh, I guess I am really the shallowest girl you ever met." It's fucking genius, and it comes from a porn comic. Or how about how the same girl keeps hiding condoms and pulling them out of her hair? What are you, a condom magician? Yeah, let's make it vanish over and over. I'm gonna fuck you until you can't remember your own name, and I'll just have to make sure you're screaming it. I swear these sounds I'm making aren't what you think they are. Why are there so many of these clever lines? I swear to God, if this wasn't porn, it would have achieved so much more success. There are so many more of these kinds of lines, but let's move on. The other thing worth noting is, you ready for this? The humanization of characters. Previously on Unique Nemesaurus. Oh, maybe I'll do a humanization video on Hunter x Hunter. Nope, it's on porn instead. That's it, my theories on humanization are still kind of half-baked at this point. So, humanization is an interesting concept. It's another one of those terms in storytelling where we have a good enough definition to identify it, but not enough to be replicated. All I know is that it's a unique feeling I got when I watched things like the Phantom Trope interact, some of Gon and Killua's moments, the way the Sleeping Knights interact in the background of Sword Art Online 2. There's one scene in Breaking Bad where Jesse is like in the background playing with a stick. I got that feeling there as well. So at the expense of sounding like a philosophy major, what exactly does it mean to be human? The feeling I get definitely comes from a very like human expression of emotion. So whoever coined this term was definitely onto something, but when I add up the moments that make me feel this way, there's a lot of more like playful messing around, characters being silly for the sake of pure simple fun, or you know, unpure simple fun. I mean, when was the last porn you saw where a character playfully whacked another with someone's dick? Well, that happens in this comic, and it's funny, but there's a feeling in the background that I can't quite understand. Oh my god, I sound like a teenager who just hit puberty. I've seen people talk about humanization and how it's all about the mundane, ordinary things, and you could apply that to some of the playfulness seen in this comic. It's not a plot point or character mover, it's just kind of there to be there. But that definition of mundane and ordinary, it isn't good enough. If you're looking to break that theory, you can find a bunch of mundane scenes that don't produce that feeling. They're definitely onto something. It does seem to only happen with the mundane and ordinary, but there's something more specific that we're missing that separates this mundane from this mundane. I mean, if I were to pinpoint it a bit closer, I'd say it's characters doing meaningless things purely for their own enjoyment. I mean, that would be something that explains why the mundane or unimportant could be considered human, right? So with that theory in mind, I then tried to break it. I tried comparing it to K-On! Slice of life, schoolgirls obviously have a lot of silly fun, right? And it did. but I didn't get that humanizing feeling, and it looked like the same kind of playful shenanigans from Cheer, so what the fuck? Also, by this theory, Yang's puns that no one enjoys should be humanizing, but again, didn't get that feeling. But when a character randomly blows a raspberry on another's stomach, mid-coitus, and starts tickling her, it feels real and immersive. Hell, you can even see this sort of thing all across his other works too, when it's not even about the porn. I kinda got a little bit from this girl just sitting neatly under the shelf, so it's just above her head, so... I got nothing. Honestly, the reason this video took so long is not just because I had to stop every 10 minutes to fact, it's because this has genuinely been one of the trickiest design theories to pin down in ages. Since I can't find anything, I guess I'm just gonna wait for inspiration to strike me and come back to this later. In the meantime, let's just marvel in the fact that this comic exists, because this is... this is like fucking fantastic! What the fuck am I doing with this channel? Anyway, the point is, I've never heard anyone praise porn for its writing, when there's nothing inherently stopping it from having it. But by random chance, it must exist, right? And yeah, it does in fact seem to exist. So I guess because of association bias, it's never really talked about outside of the context of porn. Which I guess is your takeaway from this video. Anyway, go read Cheer. It'll only take 20, 30 seconds. Actually read it, please! Don't just look at the picture, that's not the point!